Nowhere Man. Fade in. Exterior. Back entrance to the Strand nightclub. Superimposed. December 2008, New York City. A black limousine pulls into the parking lot of a back entrance of a historic club, the Strand. The limo doors open and out steps the red snakeskin boots belonging to the 70s rock star John Kay of Steppenwolf. The tall figure exits the limo wearing sunglasses, torn designer jeans, unbuttoned black silk shirt, revealing his less-than-fit torso. On his arm is a hottie who holds his guitar case as she walks beside him. In his left hand he holds a bottle of Jack Daniels. They walk towards the back door, which opens just as they step up to it. In the doorway stands his agent, Harry Durst, 55, with a nervous look on his face. He holds the door open for John.
That's me, Harry Durst. Agent to the stars. Sort of. Have I got an incredible story for you. But I'm warning you, the ending's a little rough. John, glad you're here. The band's already started.
Ignoring him, John walks past Harry into the club. Harry scurries in front of John. He walks backward as he leads the once famous star through the halls en route to the stage.
The place is packed.
Well, what about the money?
John quickens his pace, which makes it more difficult for Harry to walk backwards and continue his conversation.
I've spoken to the new owners.
John Kay stops dead in his tracks, lowers his sunglasses, and suspiciously stares down at Harry, who quickly reassures him.
Don't worry, they promised the cash right after the show.
John continues his walk towards the stage, where from behind the curtains a young pickup band is already playing the vamp chords of the famous Steppenwolf hit, Born to be Wild. John walks up to the center microphone and stands at it, holds his right arm out with his hand open. The hottie brings his black signature Rickenbacker guitar to him and puts it into his hand. She plugs the guitar into a stack of amplifiers. He straps the guitar on and plays along. The band cranks up a notch, they're ready to rock. John Kay looks over at Harry and nods to him. Harry gives John the thumbs up sign and steps to a microphone behind the curtain.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Strand Dinner Theatre is proud to present...
John Kay double takes over at Harry in shock as the curtains open.
John Kay and Steppenwolf.
John begins to sing.
Get your motor running.
As he sings, John looks out over the crowd and sees the transformed Strand Dinner Theatre. Tables are lined right up to the stage, filled with septuagenarians who immediately cover their ears.
Ow! Happy anniversary, honey!
Interior, Durst Promotions Office, later that night. Walls adorned with gold records and frames from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Black and white photos of Harry with the Supremes, minus Diana Ross. Harry with the Jacksons, minus Michael. Harry with Engelbert Humperdinck. Concert posters behind Harry's desk read, "In concert, the Righteous Brother." And the legendary Sam Cooke, in a very tiny type at the bottom right corner of the Sam Cooke poster, in a tribute to his father, Sam Cooke Jr. Another concert poster reads, "In concert, one night only, Frank Sinatra Jr., Harry Connick Sr., Sammy Davis Jr., Jr. A pathetic aluminum Christmas tree sits in the corner. Piles of papers completely cover a desk. Harry sits with his head on his left hand and a glass of scotch in his right. It's been a while since the maid has been here. Smoke swirls from a lit joint that sits in the ashtray on the desk. A subpoena sits on top of a stack of mail with a post-it note attached that reads, "Another one for your collection, Rose."
Third one this month. That must be some kind of record.
Harry throws it on a pile of identical manila envelopes, with the exception of the postmarked dates. They topple off the desk. Also in the pile is a variety magazine. The cover shows a picture of Harry's former boss and mentor. The headline reads, "New York City entertainment community mourns the loss of one of their own, Sam Goldman, after a long battle with lung cancer." Harry turns his chair to his left and faces the opposite corner, which reveals a shimmering glass cabinet containing Beatles memorabilia, albums, concert tickets, framed lyrics, newspaper clippings, pictures, gold records, action figures, and lunch boxes. On the wall hangs framed newspaper headlines detailing historic moments in the Beatles' career. A matching glass cabinet on the left contains all the Beatles' albums and a turntable. It's a shrine that looks out of place compared to the rest of his office. He walks over to the albums and pulls out a selection. He takes it out of his jacket, delicately holds it by its edges, and blows the dust off. He puts the record on the turntable, and the opening notes of Sgt. Pepper begins. Harry's burdens lighten up a bit. He sits back down behind the desk, puts his feet up, and inhales. There's a loud knock at the door. It's his daughter, Julia, 35. She deepens her voice.
NYPD, open up.
Harry quickly pulls out the joint in the ashtray, puts it out. He sticks the ashtray in the top drawer of his desk and waits to exhale. Julia walks into the office with a smirk. She carries a gift bag.
Hi, Dad.
Harry coughs and exhales.
Jesus, you almost gave me a heart attack.
Julia walks up to him and gives him an awkward peck on the cheek. They both stand there for a pause, and then she moves to sit in front of the desk. She looks right at Harry.
You look like crap.
He refreshes his drink.
Thanks.
So how was the gig?
Flashback, the Strand, Harry's POV. John Kay's fist heads towards Harry's face. Interior, Harry's office. He rubs his wounded cheek.
We had him dancing in the aisles.
Julia looks around the disheveled office and eyes the aluminum tree.
Nice to see you've decorated for the holidays.
She hands him the shopping bag.
This is for you.
He reluctantly takes it.
You bought me a present?
You've always been sad on this day. Think of it as an early Christmas gift.
Harry sighs and concedes.
You think I'd be over it after 25 years?
Speaking of Christmas, will this be the year you're going to take me ice skating?
Didn't we just do that?
Yeah, when I was 12.
Harry changes the subject.
Okay, let's open that package.
He gets the scissors and slices through the tape and opens the package. He takes the gift out of the box and opens it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You like it?
I love it.
You don't know what it is, do you?
Harry tries to hide his lack of high-tech knowledge.
Of course I know what it is. It's a USB, GPS, HDMI radio transporter device.
It's an iPod, you idiot. It plays music and videos.
Julia points to the records on the wall and scrolls through the artists listed on the iPod.
All these albums, all in here. Every song.
Harry looks in amazement at the iPod and marvels at its music collection. He selects Sgt. Pepper and plays She's Leaving Home. She hands the iPod to Harry and inserts the earbuds. Julia walks over to the turntable playing and shuts it off.
I already loaded it. Look, it even has Let It Be, Yellow Submarine, Magical Mystery Tour.
While Harry checks out the iPod, Julia looks at the picture on his desk of Harry, Julia, and her mother, Mary.
Why don't you ever call her?
Harry looks at the same picture.
Why doesn't she call me?
Julia changes the subject.
How about I take you out for a late dinner? My treat.
No thanks, I'm done for the night.
She takes another stab.
How about a quick slice?
Nah, I'm half in the bag.
On the desk, Julia notices a near-empty bottle of scotch and a picture of Harry and Sam. In the picture, Harry holds an award that reads Sam Goldman Agent of the Year, 1978. Sam has his arm around Harry.
I know it's been hard since Sam died.
I'm fine.
Okay. I'll call you over the weekend. We'll figure out the iPod together, okay?
Okay. I'll be alphabetizing my subpoenas till then.
Julia kisses him and they attempt a hug. She walks out of the office, turns and sticks her head in the door.
Oh, and Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Your desk is on fire. Bye.
Smoke spews from the desk drawer under Harry's chin. He quickly opens the top drawer, throws a glass of scotch on the burning paper and slams it shut. Realizing he dumped 80 proof alcohol on an open flame, he reopens the drawer to double check and confirm the fire is indeed doused. Inside the open drawer next to his soggy wallet sits a prescription bottle that reads Harry Durst. Valium 20 milligrams, take one 3 times a day or as needed. He picks up the bottle, opens it. He transmogrifies the directions.
Take 3 tablets at once, as needed.
He throws the tablets back into his mouth and swallows them. He refills his glass and chases them with a big gulp of scotch. Harry picks up the iPod and plugs the earbuds in his ear. The music fills Harry's head with A Day in the Life, where the voices of the Beatles sing trippy, acid-influenced background vocals. The orchestra modulates hauntingly in half steps. He plays with the buttons and stumbles upon the photos that Julia has loaded. He sees pictures from his past, his and Mary's wedding, Julia as she grows, and Christmases gone by. His preoccupation with the iPod prevents him from hearing the phone ring. The nasal tones of his ex-wife Mary slices through to his ears from an ancient answering machine.
Although it's against my better judgment, I'm calling to give you a heads up.
He ignores her voice like he did when they were married. He continues to scroll through the pictures.
Before she comes, I thought I'd tell you your daughter is on her way over to see you.
Old news, witch.
He reaches over to the machine to shut it off.
Before you erase this, knowing how you suffer from selective memory disorder,
He catches himself from hitting the button.
I hope you got her a present because today is her 35th birthday.
She hangs up abruptly. The iPod lands on a picture of him and Julia at her 14th birthday party.
Oh no.
He yanks the drawer all the way out and uncovers Julia's birthday gift from last year. He removes a black velvet box, takes off the ribbon and opens it. Inside is a silver locket. He takes it out of the box. He opens it to reveal the same picture Julia loaded in the iPod. Attached is a card that reads, "Sorry I missed your 34th birthday, love Dad." Harry retrieves a pen and crosses out 34th and writes 35th. Realizing he can't give Julia the card, he throws it out.
Hello, Bottom.
He puts the iPod in his coat pocket, the necklace in his pants pocket, and races out of the office. He runs down the staircase. At the first landing, he looks over the banister down in between the flights of stairs. His cocktail kicks in and his head starts to spin in a Hitchcockian sort of way. All along, the music pounds in his head.
Woke up, got out of bed, dragged a comb across my head.
Interior, office lobby. He continues his descent to the lobby and is out of breath as he heads out the front door.
Julia!
Exterior, office landing. He heads out of the building onto the sidewalk and bumps right into a startled pedestrian.
Hey, watch where you're going!
Harry doesn't hear him as he walks into traffic and crosses the street. Car horns blare as they narrowly escape hitting him.
Get the hell out of the way!
All Harry hears is the music in his head. He yells.
Julia!
Exterior, 71st Street. Harry makes it across the street. He looks up to see a blurred image of two entrances to the park. He attempts to run, but the drugs have kicked in and the icy slidewalk makes him slip and stumble. He runs onto the Central Park pathway. He stops to get his bearings. His head spins faster, preventing him from seeing the bright lights fast approaching. The lights belong to a taxi whose driver lays on the horn, which Harry cannot hear. The cab driver slams on the brakes, which forces the cab to slowly spin sideways towards the Harry, to the shock of the cab fares, Morty and Sadie, looking to put a nightcap on their anniversary nightmare. The final chord to A Day in the Life plays. Fade to black. Exterior, Central Park. In the dark and cold, Harry hears only his own heartbeat. He opens his eyes to find he's face down in the snow. He feels his vibration in the ground beneath him and hears a muffled pounding approach. He lifts his head to see a horse about to crush him with his hooves. He rolls out of the way as the horse jumps back onto its hind legs and whinnies. Behind the horse in a carriage is a startled coachman who attempts to rein the horse to a stop.
Ah! Whoa, girl!
The coachman steers the carriage over to the side path.
Hey, buddy, that's a bad place to take a nap.
Dazed, Harry gets up and brushes the snow off his clothes.
What happened? Where am I?
The coachman sarcastically tips his top hat.
You're in the enchanted forest, and I'm your fairy godmother.
Harry looks around at his surroundings. The coachman makes the motion of drinking with his hands.
A little too much celebrating?
Apparently.
Can I give you a lift somewhere?
Yeah.
Harry wobbly gets up, opens the door, climbs into the carriage, and sits in the seat. The coachman tugs at the horse's reins.
Come on, girl.
They head out to the park. His heart rate returning to normal. Harry leans back in his seat. He tries to relax.
Can I borrow your phone?
The coachman turns back and looks at Harry with a quizzical look.
You could, but this horse won't make it all the way to Jersey.
Oh, you left it at home?
Yeah, in the kitchen. On the wall.
Can you get me to a payphone?
The carriage exits the park at 42nd Street, leaving the serene, snow-covered park behind. It enters the busy streets of downtown New York City. A cacophony of taxis and buses compete with their horns. Christmas shoppers stand outside display windows. The streetlights are covered with red bells. Garland hangs from the cables across the street. Snow covers the cars. Atop a building, a billboard displays Robert De Niro starring in Raging Bull.
Must be the new collections edition.
The buggy continues down 42nd Street. It passes a bus with a full-length poster of Brooke Shields in her famous Calvin Klein ad.
She looks really good for 40.
The coachman is certain of his fare's instability. The buggy pulls up to a corner where a newsstand and a payphone sit.
Here we are.
Harry reaches into his pocket for his wallet and pulls out some cash.
What do I owe you?
$5.
Harry's caught off guard by the low price.
5?
All right, make it full.
Harry hands the coachman a $10 bill.
Keep it.
The coachman is surprised by Harry's generosity.
Hey, buddy, you sure you're okay?
I'm fine, and thanks for not running over me.
Well, if you need me, you know where to find me. The Enchanted Forest.
The coachman tugs at the reins and he laughs.
Yeah!
The coachman waves and heads off. Harry walks up to the phone booth at the corner. Having not used a payphone in a long time, he looks to see how much the call will be.
Still 25 cents?
He puts a quarter in the slot. He dials Julia's cell phone.
Maybe we can still get that slice.
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, boop boop boop. A recording plays. The number you have reached has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Why would she disconnect her phone?
Harry hangs up and reaches into his pocket and realizes he has no more change. He walks over to the newsstand and buys a newspaper. He folds it in half and sticks it under his arm. He hands the clerk a $5 bill and receives change. Back at the phone, he inserts a quarter and dials Mary.
Hello?
Hi, is Julia there?
Yeah, she's here. Where the hell are you?
What?
Harry, I've got 10 screaming adolescent girls waiting for you to bring home a birthday cake.
I don't understand.
You know, Harry, Julia only turns 13 once in her life.
Harry pulls the phone away from his ear, and the newspaper drops from under his arm. It hits the ground, front page up.
13? What?
You don't even know how old your daughter is?
Hold on a second.
Harry panics. He bends down to pick up the paper and stares at the front page, his eyes widen in disbelief.
It can't be.
The recent events flash back in Harry's mind. The Brooks Shields bus ad, the Raging Bull billboard. Harry freezes. Looking up, Harry sees buildings silhouetted in the full moon. A New York City skyline from a time past. The newspaper reads, Monday, December 8th, 1980.
Oh my God.
Harry drops the phone. It swings with Mary's voice still ranting. He turns back to the newsstand. All the newspapers have the same date. He looks up at the Bank of New York clock at the corner of 72nd Street. The scroll reads 33 degrees, 10:45 p.m. Harry starts to freak out.
This is impossible.
He jumps out into the street in front of a cab. The cab swerves to avoid hitting him. The cabbie yells.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
Harry ignores him and jumps in.
Take me to West 72nd and Central Park. It's an emergency.
The cab takes off down the street and turns north towards the park entrance. The traffic starts to build.
If you know a shortcut,
He holds up a $100 bill in the rear view mirror.
now's the time to use it.
The cabbie nods and slams into the gas pedal. The tires scream as the cab shoots around the slow-moving traffic on the right side shoulder. The cabbie jerks the wheel and makes a kamikaze left turn at the intersection. After 50 feet, he jams on the brakes to avoid crashing into a wall of cars. Traffic is so thick, it looks like a parking lot. Harry pounds the back of the seat with his fists.
Come on.
After the cab is passed by a strolling couple, Harry gets out of the cab.
Yeah, nice shortcut.
Harry runs down the sidewalk towards 47th Street. After a short distance, his sprint slows to a jog. Harry hears the sound of sleigh bells, a familiar horse and carriage pulling up next to him.
Where's the fire?
Hey, you gotta get me to West 72nd.
Hop in.
Harry grabs the side rail and jumps into the moving carriage. He leans up to the coachman and hands him the $100 bill meant for the cabbie.
Listen, this is an emergency. We need you to haul ass.
The coachman is alarmed by the look in Harry's eyes.
Hold on.
The coachman snaps his reins at the horse and they take off.
Yeah!
A sudden acceleration throws Harry back into the seat. The carriage pulls across the 5-lane one-way street and heads back into the park. They fly by a mounted policeman who is handing out a parking ticket. Exterior, Central Park. The carriage races into a covered bridge. In the darkness, the sound of the horse's hooves and the carriage's wheels startle Harry as they ride over the wooden plank bridge.
I don't think I've ever gone this fast before.
The carriage blasts its way through to the other side. As the carriage leaves the bridge, the hooves and wheels are muffled by the snow-covered road. Harry hears behind them another set of hooves. He turns back to see the policemen in hot pursuit as they cross through the park. Harry shouts.
Whatever happens, don't stop.
The coachman turns to see the policeman gaining on them, and he snaps the reins harder.
Yeah!
The carriage picks up speed. The policeman pulls up alongside.
Pull it over!
The coachman points to an approaching bench directly in front of the policeman. The policeman's horse stops short, throwing the policeman off into the snow. Exterior, West 72nd Street. The carriage turns out of the park onto West 72nd, almost pulling into their destination. Harry sees a white Rolls Royce pulling up ahead of them.
That's it, up ahead.
Exterior, West 72nd Street, sidewalk. A shadowy figure in a long coat walks towards the entrance to a castle-like building. Exterior, West 72nd Street. A white Rolls Royce pulls up to the curb. A chauffeur gets out and walks around to the back door. A woman exits. She walks towards the entrance. A man gets out and follows. Exterior, West 72nd Street, sidewalk. Harry sees the carriage won't be able to pull up in time.
Shit!
Harry jumps out of the carriage. He springboards off the Rolls trunk lid and sails through the air. Exterior, West 72nd Street, sidewalk. The dark figure closes in and approaches the man. They stop and converse. He pulls a gun out of his coat pocket and points it at the man. The coachman yells a warning.
He's got a gun!
At which point Harry crashes into the gunman as the gun goes off. The man ducks down behind the car after hearing the loud explosion of the gun. The woman at the entrance turns and screams. Harry wrestles with the gunman. He feels pain in his lower leg, which prevents him from getting up. The gunman escapes Harry's grasp and races down the street. Harry rolls over onto his back. His ears are ringing from the gun blast. His body is numb from the bullet. A familiar, bespectacled face bends down over him right before he passes out.
Are you okay?
Fade to black. Fade in. Interior guest room. A bedroom has been transformed into a hospital room. Harry stirs in a big wooden bed with bright white sheets. Harry's POV. He wakes up to voices murmuring over him.
What did the doctor say?
He said it's very important that he rests.
Harry drifts off. Interior guest room. Harry stirs awake again to more voices. He tries to sit up and talk. A figure walks into the room, but Harry can't make it out.
Harry? Harry?
Harry recognizes the voice but can't place it. He drifts off again. Interior guest room, December 9th, 1980, 8:23 a.m. Harry's eyes open, and this time he has enough strength to pull himself up. Sitting in front of the bed, in a white chair, dressed in white, a figure is backlit by the rays of the sun beaming in from the window.
Hello?
The figure gets up and walks towards Harry out of the sun, and right in front of him, the figure reveals itself to be John Lennon. As it becomes clear to Harry who it is, he's stunned.
I must be dead.
Another figure comes into focus.
Not quite. You've lost a bit of blood from the bullet having just grazed your thigh. You'll feel disoriented, but you'll be fine in no time.
The doctor closes her medical bag and turns to John.
I left my number on the table with a prescription. Call me if you have any problems.
She looks to Harry in the bed.
Stay off that leg. No more heroics.
The doctor leaves. Harry turns towards John, who flicks his eyebrows up and down.
So who are you?
Harry is dazed.
John Lennon.
No, that's me.
Harry is too stunned to speak.
It's all very exciting, isn't it?
Harry pulls the cover off his legs, looks at John as he speaks.
What happened?
Well, there was a horse and a carriage, a leap from the rolls, a mugger and a shooting.
Harry whispers.
I did it.
John's wife, Yoko Ono, 43, walks in. She walks up to Harry and lovingly wipes his hair back. She softly kisses his forehead.
Yoko, meet our new friend.
Harry Durst.
Nice to meet you, Harry.
Harry is uncomfortable with the attention from Yoko. He still can't believe he's in the same room as his idol, John Lennon.
I think I need to use the bathroom.
The doctor said that's a good sign.
Yoko points to the door. Harry slowly slides off the bed. He tests his bandaged leg.
Here, Harry, let me help you.
Harry's a little woozy as he leans on John's shoulder to his way to the bathroom.
Thanks. I'm okay.
Interior bathroom. Harry closes the bathroom door. He walks to the toilet, lowers the seat, and sits. He tries to pee. His attention shifts to the conversation he hears between John and Yoko on the other side of the door. Interior bedroom.
How are you holding up, Mother?
I don't even want to think about what would have happened had he not been there.
John consoles her.
Don't worry, the police have the mugger in custody.
Interior bathroom. Harry flushes and limps to the sink. He washes his hands and bends over to splash water in his face. He straightens back up and looks at himself in the mirror.
I look good.
Harry's gray hair is gone. His hair covers more of his head. His wrinkles are gone, and his skin is more vibrant. Harry is 25 years younger.
I look really good.
Interior bedroom. Yoko walks into John's outstretched arms and starts to sob. Interior bathroom. Harry dries his face with a towel. Hearing Yoko cry, he gives them another moment and curiously opens the medicine chest. The medicine chest reveals 6 full shelves, a veritable spice rack of pharmaceuticals.
Ah, the 80s.
Harry pulls a few bottles down from the shelves and reads the labels. Interior bedroom. Yoko pulls away from John and kisses his cheek.
You're a good wife.
Interior bathroom. Harry looks up at himself in the mirror with wide eyes.
Oh my God, I'm still married.
Harry drops a bottle which clangs around in the large steel sink like a ball on the roulette wheel. Interior bedroom. John calls to Harry from the bedroom as he winks at Yoko.
Harry, there's a bottle of aspirin in the medicine chest on the 3rd shelf.
Interior bathroom. The clanging finally stops when the bottle comes to rest. Harry yells back.
Found it.
Interior bedroom. John and Yoko smile at each other as they hear Harry, the tension now broken.
I'll see about breakfast.
John sits down and waits for Harry to exit the bathroom. Harry opens the bathroom door and slowly walks back to the bed.
We hope you don't mind keeping you here instead of bringing you to a hospital. We wanted to keep it off the headlines.
Fluffing a few pillows behind him, Harry sets himself up to a seated position. He surveys his king-size, four-post wooden bed, Egyptian cotton sheets, fresh flowers, and John's original artwork on the wall.
Well, if this is the best you can do.
John smiles at Harry's remark. He pulls his chair up into the bed.
Harry, by putting yourself in harm's way, you protected me and my family. I really want to thank you.
Mr. Lennon, I'm such a big fan. I'm just glad I was able to make it in time.
John looks at Harry with a puzzled look. Harry covers.
I mean, after all your music has meant to me through the years.
Yoko walks back in.
John, David is here with Detective Henderson. You need to sign the police report.
He's probably going to want to talk to me.
John gets up to leave. He looks back to Harry.
I'll take care of it, Harry. Besides, they've already caught the guy.
Harry is flabbergasted that he's altered history. All the blood drains from Harry's face.
You still look a little pale. You should rest.
John and Yoko exit the room, leaving Harry alone.
Come, love, time to talk to the man.
John and Yoko walk down the hall to greet their guests.
Detective, Mr. Geffen, good morning.
Harry sits in the bed and stares at the phone, thinking about Mary, his wife.
Time to talk to the man.
Harry dials the phone and waits for Mary to answer. Interior, Durst house. Mary picks up the receiver to the phone on the counter. Intercut as needed.
Hello?
Mary.
Mary yells back. Harry jerks the phone away from his ear.
Harry!
Mary, I'm sorry.
Mary's relief turns to furor. She slams down the phone. Harry looks at the phone.
Mary? Hello?
Harry hangs up the phone. Pulled back on. Mary's sitting with two policemen in the kitchen. One officer is writing notes on his pad. Mary sighs.
Thank you for coming, officers. My husband is no longer missing. Or dead.
The policemen get up from the table. The officer closes his pad.
Glad everything's okay, ma'am. We'll show ourselves out.
The officers head out the front door and walk to their patrol car.
If he wasn't dead before, he's gonna be.
Mary sits alone at the table, fuming. Interior bedroom. John leans into the doorway.
Everything okay?
My wife's a little upset.
If you want, I can call it for you.
Harry slowly gets out of bed.
I don't even think you can calm her down.
John notices Harry is still in great pain as he tries to walk. He takes a cane out of an umbrella stand next to the armoire. The ebony wood cane has an engraved sterling silver grip. He hands it to Harry.
Here, you might find this useful. You'll be fine. Just tell your wife the truth. Get dressed and come down and get some breakfast. I'll finish with the detective and join you.
John closes the door and heads down the hall to the kitchen. Harry limps over to the armoire and grabs his clothes. He attempts to put on his pants, but the pain is too great. He drops the pants straight down in front of him on the floor. He steps into them. Unable to bend down, he hooks the handle of the cane into the belt loop and slowly pulls his pants up. In the mirror, Harry notices his weight loss and turns sideways.
I must be dreaming.
He taps himself with a cane on his bandaged leg.
Ow! Nope.
John yells out to Harry.
Harry, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Harry whispers to himself.
I'm just trying to figure out how to explain to you I'm from the year 2009. Wait a minute.
Harry limps over to his jacket and frantically searches all of his pockets. Exterior, Central Park. A close-up of a hand picks up the iPod from Harry's imprint in the snow. Interior bedroom. Disappointed he can't find the iPod, Harry puts the empty jacket on the bed and limps out of the bedroom.
Here goes nothing.
Interior, Lennon kitchen. The governess serves breakfast to Harry, Yoko, and John, seated at the table. Sean, 5, sits in a booster seat, pulled up to the table. John cuts Sean's pancakes.
Sean, say hello to Harry.
Sean doesn't look up from his pancakes as he pours syrup.
Hi, Harry.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Sean ignores Harry and digs in. Harry sips his tea.
Harry, is that chair comfortable enough for you?
It's fine, thanks.
Bring some more tea.
Yoko sits down next to John. She leans her head on his shoulder.
I'm sorry. There's still a lot to take in.
Harry concurs.
Don't I know it?
Harry has, after all, time traveled to the Lennons for breakfast. They all share a nervous laugh. Harry looks at Sean eating. John sipping his tea as he rubs Yoko's back and is reminded of his own family.
Have you called home?
I tried.
His wife's a little upset.
Oh, so you're married. Do you have any kids?
I have a daughter.
And they don't know what happened to you?
Harry looks over to John, who communicates the married man's shrug, as if to say, "You're on your own."
We have to get him home.
Exterior, outside St. Anne's High School. Mary walks Julia, now 13, to school.
Did he say where he was?
He tried to.
He's back in the doghouse again.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be out in time for my concert on Friday?
I wouldn't count on it.
Exterior, Durst house. Harry stands at his front door and looks in the window. He pushes the doorbell, but it doesn't ring. He looks under a brick by the bench on the porch and finds a key.
Right where I left it.
He unlocks the door and enters the home he lived in for 16 years.
Hello?
He walks in the house and closes the door tight. It seems to trigger the doorbell to go off.
Never got that fixed.
Exterior, corner grocery store. Mary walks into the store. Out the window, she sees a white Rolls Royce pass by. On top of the grill sits a peace sign that replaces the standard Rolls hood ornament. Interior, Harry's house. Harry limps through the house, taking in the memories as he goes from room to room. Interior, Julia's bedroom. He peeks his head into Julia's room and sees the remnants of last night's birthday party. Streamers, a sagging balloon bouquet, birthday cards, and open presents sit on her desk and her dresser. Posters of Blondie, Carole King, Linda Ronstadt, and a normal-looking Michael Jackson cover Julia's walls. Interior, Harry and Mary's bedroom. The furniture in the bedroom are exactly as he remembers. Harry sits on his side of their bed. He leans over and touches Mary's pillow. He takes a deep breath. Harry glances over towards their desk and wooden chair. Harry gets up from the bed and moves over to the desk.
My typewriter.
He lightly taps the keys and pulls out a piece of paper. The paper reads, ideas. Start record label, publishing company, concert promoter, Beatles reunion at the Garden, haha. Harry picks up a picture frame of him and Sam, his boss. It's the same Agent of the Year pose he had on his desk at his office in 2009. He whispers,
Sam.
Harry is startled by the sound of the front door closing. He slowly limps down the hall to the top of the stairs. He sees Mary's legs as she walks in with groceries. Harry's POV. Mary places the groceries on the table and slowly takes off her coat. Seeing her makes Harry so weak in the knees that he sits down on the steps. She takes off her hat and shakes her hair as if she were in a shampoo commercial.
I am an idiot.
It's love at first sight for the second time. Nothing could ruin this perfect moment.
Enjoying yourself?
Except that. She walks into the kitchen. Harry slowly heads down the stairs. He makes his way to the couch. He slowly sits down. She walks into the living room with her coat and hat. She puts them in the closet. Harry looks at Mary. He cannot get over how beautiful she is.
Mary, I know I have a lot of explaining to do, and that you probably won't believe me anyway, but this time...
She slams the closet door.
Shut up! I had no idea where you were, if you were dead or alive. You scared me, and what's worse, you disappointed your daughter.
I know.
The police were here. I called all the hospitals. I called the office. No one knew where you were.
I know.
He slowly stands up and unbuckles his belt. He opens his pants and lets them fall to his feet. He reveals the blood-soaked bandage. The anger built up in Mary melts. She rushes to him.
What happened? Are you all right?
She hugs him with his pants around his shoes. He softly speaks.
I was shot, preventing the murder of John Lennon.
Mary swings a pillow from the couch at Harry and knocks him backwards. He lands on the couch with his hands still around his ankles.
Ow!
Why do you always have to lie to me?
Harry realizes this truth-telling is going to be difficult at first.
I'm sorry.
She sits down next to him. Mary's eyes widen. She leads the witness.
So, you were shot?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you left me hanging on the phone?
Harry sees the lie unfold before him.
Yeah, I just bought the birthday cake, and this guy came up, shot me, and took my wallet.
Harry! Oh my God!
Yeah, and the last thing I remember was the cake smashing as I fell. I came to this morning at the hospital and called you.
Mary leans into him. She becomes sad at the possibility of her loss.
Harry, you could have been killed. I don't know what I would do without you.
Mary hugs Harry and cries.
I tried to save that cake.
Interior, Lennon living room. John sits at his famous white piano in a dream state. He He lightly taps the keys, but not enough to make the strings resonate. He's in another world. Yoko watches him through the overhang from the kitchen. Interior living room. Julia sits beside Harry on the couch. He stirs awake. Mary watches from the kitchen.
Dad?
Harry opens his eyes to see his young daughter for the first time. It's too much for Harry, and he begins to cry. He hugs her and whispers to her.
Hi, baby. I'm sorry I missed your birthday. Are you mad at me?
Julia is taken aback by his hug, which lasts a long time.
It was, but not anymore. Daddy, I have to practice. Will it bother you?
Big smile.
Honey, you can do whatever you want. Go ahead.
Julia sits down at the piano. Mary yells from the kitchen.
Harry, I called Sam at the office.
It hits Harry that Sam is still alive.
How did he sound?
Worried. He thought you were slacking off until I explained your accident.
Relieved Sam is alive, but reluctant to see him, Harry is silent. Mary misinterprets this as Harry's uninterest in his job. Mary walks in from the kitchen. She brings up a conversation they have had often.
Harry, I know that you're not happy at work.
Julia plays different themes from a soundtrack to Mary's speech. First up is the theme from Jaws.
But you've always put your family first and taken care of us.
Julia plays the theme from Green Acres. Harry and Mary conceal their laughter. They don't want to indulge in the antics of their smart-ass daughter.
Plus, you'll get over this slump.
Julia plays Hava Nagila. They all begin to laugh.
Okay, girls. I'll see Sam tomorrow and straighten it out. I need a nap.
Harry drifts off to sleep as Julia practices her scales. Interior living room, 1 a.m. Harry is wide awake. He grabs the remote and turns on the TV. He scrolls through the channels. He stops at a rerun of Saturday Night Live. Lorne Michaels sits at a desk holding a check up to the camera.
I'm serious. We'll pay $3,000 for the Beatles to perform on SNL. You can divide up the money any way you like. You can even pay Ringo less.
Inspired, Harry pushes the remote and shuts off the TV. He walks to the dining room table for a notepad. The pad lays next to a cane. Harry holds up the shiny black cane. He inspects its sterling silver handle. He recognizes it from the Lennon home. On the pad is a note written by Mary. It reads, Dr. Robert has sent this over by messenger. He said to make sure you call him no matter what time it is. 555-6745. Harry dials the number. After one ring, John answers.
Harry.
Dr. Robert?
How are you feeling?
Harry twirls the cane through the air.
Great. Thanks for the cane.
You're welcome. How did it go with Mary, is it?
Good. The bandages helped.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Listen, was I to get together for breakfast?
I don't know, John. Are you kidding? Of course. Well, there's something I wanted to talk to you about anyway.
Okay. Good night, Harry.
Harry hangs up the phone and limps back to the couch. He scribbles quickly on the yellow legal pad. Wednesday morning. Interior, Harry and Mary's bedroom. Mary awakens to the morning sunlight and looks over at the clock, which displays 8:30.
Oh my God.
She bolts out of the bed and heads down the hall to Julia's bedroom.
Julia, get up. I overslept.
She opens Julia's door to find her bed is empty and made. Mary walks to the kitchen, which is also empty, so she heads up to the bathroom and yells.
We're going to be late.
The bathroom's empty, but a note from Harry is taped to the mirror. Thought you could sleep in, took Julia to school. I'll call from the office, love Harry. Exterior, St. Anne's schoolyard. Harry leans on his cane as he walks.
You've never walked me to school before.
You can't say that anymore.
An awkward silence.
You sounded good on the piano last night.
How would you know? You were snoring.
Oh. Well, what I heard before I fell asleep was nice.
His honesty softens her.
I've never played on stage in front of people before. I'm gonna screw up.
You're gonna be great.
He stops and turns towards Julia. Harry puts the silver necklace in her hand.
I'm sorry for missing your birthday.
Julia is taken aback.
Daddy!
Julia opens the locket, which shows their picture. She holds back the tears.
It's beautiful.
Harry takes the locket, puts it around her neck, and fastens it. The school bell rings.
Daddy, I gotta go.
Don't I get a kiss?
Daddy, everybody's looking.
Harry covers his disappointment by showing he's cool and acknowledges her.
Oh, right. No problem. Maybe later. See ya.
Eye rolling.
Bye, Dad.
Julia walks up to the school steps. She grabs the locket and rubs it between her thumb and fingers. Changing her mind about who's watching, she turns to go back to kiss her father, only to see a white Rolls-Royce pull away from the curb and drive off. Julia looks up and down the street for her father. Interior, Lennon rolls. Harry sits next to John.
She's beautiful. What's her name?
Julia.
It's the same name as John's mother, and her namesake, John's son, Julian.
I love that name.
John calls out to the driver.
Stevens, let's drive through the park.
Right, Mr. Lennon.
He puts his turn signal on. He turns down 47th towards Central Park.
So, Harry, how's the leg?
You could have picked me up a couple of blocks sooner.
Harry's feeling a little more comfortable with John.
Wanted to give you some time along with your daughter.
Yeah, I think she's forgiven me for missing her birthday. My gunshot wound has helped us both.
They ride in silence.
Well, I know it's affected me.
Harry takes a breath and approaches an awkward topic with John.
Maybe it wasn't an accident that I was there. Maybe it was fate.
Well, whatever brought you, I'm glad you were there. So what was it that you wanted to talk to me about?
Harry takes a deep breath.
Last night I was watching Saturday Night Live. The episode with Lorne Michaels and the check made out to the Beatles.
When it originally aired, Paul was over. We were thinking of going down there at the time, but Yoko wasn't home to sit for Sean.
Harry goes for it.
Well, you can still do it.
He faces John.
Harry, not you two. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Harry pushes.
If I wasn't there, you wouldn't even have the choice to say no, let alone yes.
You don't know that.
But John...
Harry, I do owe you, but come up with something else. How about if I write you a check for $3,000?
They both laugh. The awkward silence between them is broken as the car drives along.
Ready for breakfast?
Harry thinks back to what he hasn't had in a while.
You know what I could really go for? I could use a grande double shot, non-fat vanilla latte.
What?
You know, Starbucks.
What the bloody hell are you talking about?
Harry laughs.
Sorry. A cup of coffee.
There's coffee at the studio if you'd like to join us. I'm doing overdubs today.
Harry contemplates going to work or hanging out with John, but his recent conversation with Mary about Sam guilts him out.
I really need to get to work, but would love a rain check.
We'll drop you off. Where to?
The Goldman Agency on West 55th.
Sam Goldman.
Harry's not proud of his John's situation.
One and the same.
Impressive.
Yeah. Agent of the year.
Harry's sarcasm is one-upped by John.
Oh yeah? Which year?
Sarcasm broken by a sobering reality.
Not this one. You're only as good as the acts you represent, and right now I don't have any. Except Debbie Boone. So I've got that going for me.
John tries to lighten a moment.
Stevens, let's get Harry to work.
Turning around now, sir.
The car heads for Harry's office.
So, you're recording new stuff?
Well, I've been in a prolific period. It's all been coming out pretty easy. The new record is doing well, and David is after us to do a follow-up.
Harry inquires.
You mean David Giffen?
Yeah. He has me record every time I have even an idea at the piano.
I know. My favorite is Free as a Bird.
John concurs.
That is a good song. Wait, how did you hear it?
Harry backpedals.
Oh, I must have heard it at your house.
You did?
Interior, Goldman Agency offices. Elevator doors open onto the 11th floor, which is completely occupied by Sam Goldman's agency offices. Harry walks out of the elevator into an empty hallway. He is limping a little less and is in good spirits. He's starting to enjoy his new old life. He can put a little more weight on his bad leg now, so he taps the cane on the floor in front of him as he walks. He hums. The tapping becomes Chaplin-esque as he continues. He taps the floor, the walls, the fire extinguisher, and the lights above. The cane eventually comes back to the floor. He closes his eyes and begins to walk like a blind man, tapping ahead of him. His fun is interrupted by the familiar voice of Sam's assistant, Angela Kolundzic, 25. She is thin and attractive. She carries a box of donuts and yells to Harry,
Harry, are you okay? How's your leg? You were shot? Oh my God.
The last time Harry saw Angela, she was in her 50s and weighed 200 pounds. Harry switches back into limp mode and turns to greet Angela.
Hi, Angela. I'll be okay. Still working the sympathy angle.
You're gonna need it. He's pretty pissed.
Angela opens the door for Harry and walks into the office. She holds the door open for him. Harry walks in and sees familiar faces pop up from their cubicles as Angela leads him right to Sam's door. She gently knocks and opens the door a crack.
Harry's here.
Interior, Sam's office. Sam Goldman, 59, sits at his desk. He is tall, stocky, with a bad hairpiece. He hangs up the phone.
Let him in. There better be blood.
Harry stands at the doorway. He sees before him his mentor in his prime, and he shivers. Sam misreads Harry's shock as pain. He gets up to help Harry sit down on the couch, then he sits behind his desk.
So it's come to this. Rather than come to work, you shoot yourself.
Harry laughs.
I love you too, Sam.
I'm glad you're okay, Harry, but I was hearing complaints from your artist before you got hurt. They're feeling neglected.
This is an argument they've had many times. Harry sighs, back to the grind.
They're not artists, they're lounge acts.
Lounge acts that pay our bills. Harry, I know this ain't the most glamorous part of the job, but these acts helped make us when their records were #1. Now it's up to us to take care of them, just like family. I need to know I can still count on you.
Sam, I'm working on something now that's huge.
Sam rolls his eyes.
I'm serious, but I don't want to tell you until it's nailed down.
Sam comes from around his desk and helps Harry get up.
Okay, Mr. Big Shot. While I'm waiting to hear about your new big thing, take some time off and get some rest. I'll check in on you. Angela!
Angela walks in.
Help Harry out.
Angela lets Harry lean on her as she walks him out of Sam's office. She softly asks.
That didn't sound like it went too bad. What did he say?
Sam hears Angela and yells to them.
He said he's getting the Beatles back together.
Really? That is big.
Harry is startled by Sam's guess and covers.
No.
Interior, Hit Factory Recording Studio, Studio A, vocal booth. John stands at the mic ready to sing. Interior, Hit Factory Recording Studio, Studio A. In the studio, David Geffen, 37, owner of Geffen Records, sits on the couch while the engineer presses the talkback mic.
Okay, here we go. Take 7.
Which is rare for John, who struggles with the lyrics to Woman. He sings the wrong line. He takes off his headphones in frustration and rants.
It's too bloody loud.
The engineer and David look at each other. They know it's not the volume.
Why don't we take a break, John? Yeah, and let's throw this song out.
Harry walks into the control room just as they finish. John heads out of the studio. He kicks over a music stand. The engineer warns Harry.
He's not having a good day.
That's okay, we'll get some air. Harry, David Geffen. Nice to meet you. That was very brave of you, being there for John.
Mr. Geffen.
Call me David.
Okay, David. I'm very familiar with your work.
You work with Sam. He's a good man. I learned a lot from him.
You learned a lot from Sam? Isn't he a little old school?
Listen, Sam Goldman may not be repping A-list acts, but...
John joins them in the control room.
Harry, just in time for tea.
The receptionist beeps through on the intercom.
Mr. Geffen, David Crosby is calling collect from Nassau for you. He seems very upset.
Tell him I'll call him back.
He says he only gets one phone call.
David realizes he has to handle an emergency.
Okay, you guys go upstairs for some tea. I'll catch up with you.
Interior, Hit Factory Penthouse Suite. John and Harry sit in the living room of the lavish top-floor penthouse reserved only for the rock elite. A staff member serves them tea. John smiles at her.
Thank you.
John stirs his tea.
So how did it go at the office?
Sam gave me the week off to recuperate. How about you?
Maybe I need a week off. I don't seem to be able to focus. I can't remember the lyrics. I'm not singing well. I can't concentrate.
Given what we've been through, I'm not surprised.
John takes a long sip of tea. Harry has reminded John that it could have been him who was shot.
You think that's why I can't concentrate?
Harry is reflective.
Things are different for me too. I think we're forever changed.
That's pretty deep, Harry. I haven't heard that much bullshit since I was meditating in India.
Harry laughs.
But it makes sense. One thing's for sure, talking about it with you helps.
John puts his cup down on the table and stands to leave.
I should get back.
They head to the elevator. John pushes the down button. The doors open, revealing Mick Jagger, who exits the elevator.
Hello, Marco.
Oh, John, good to see you.
Mick notices Harry as he shakes John's hand. John and Harry walk in the elevator. He nods his head to Harry.
This is Harry. How's the record coming?
John could care less about Mick's huckstering. He pushes the lobby button.
Fantastic. It's only our best album ever. The producer worked with Blondie, Chick.
The elevator doors start to close and Mick talks faster.
It's fresh, it's now,
The
it's...
doors close shut. Harry imitates Mick.
It's disco.
John laughs heartily out loud. Interior, Studio A. John is back at the vocal booth. He sings the first verse to Julia.
Half of what I say is meaningless.
Harry and the engineer look at each other with eyes wide open.
He never sings any Beatles.
John interrupts over the microphone.
That's as much as you're gonna get, Harry. Okay, spin it.
The engineer hits the rewind button on the 2-inch tape machine, and the reel spin backwards to the top of the song. The opening chords of Strange Days Indeed play. John sings back along to his already recorded tracks. Harry is in heaven.
Mary's never gonna believe this.
He gets up from the chair and walks to the phone. He dials.
Hello?
Hi, it's me.
Where are you? I called the office and they said you left hours ago.
Oh, I'm at the doctor's.
Dr. Roberts?
Yes, I'm in physical therapy.
How are you feeling?
I'm fine. I just wanted you to know where I was and that I'll pick up Julia from school.
Mary's not used to Harry being this considerate.
Are you sure? I can get her.
Harry smiles.
No problem. Want me to pick up dinner?
Since you're picking her up, I'll make dinner.
That sounds great. See you later.
Interior, Durst kitchen. Mary hangs up the phone slowly.
Who are you and what have you done with my husband?
Interior, Studio A control room. Harry, John, and the engineer sit at the console and listen to a playback. They nod their heads to the beat of the song.
That sounds great.
Let's break for lunch.
Harry looks at his watch, which reads 3:30.
I can't believe 4 hours have gone by. I gotta pick up Julia at St. Anne's. I'm just gonna make it.
I'll have Stevens drive you around.
Exterior, St. Anne's School. The school bell rings and hundreds of students descend the stairway. Julia walks down the steps slowly with her 2 girlfriends. She's holding her new necklace. They head to the bus stop. As they walk, they pass the Rolls-Royce Julia noticed that morning at the curb. Interior rolls. Harry grabs the door handle, but the door is locked. He doesn't know which button to push to exit the car. He pushes one button and a light above him comes on and blinds them. He pushes another and a TV screen slides open.
How do you unlock the door?
That's what I'm here for, sir.
Oh, thanks.
Click. Stevens unlocks the door from the driver's seat. He exits the car and walks around towards Julia. Exterior, St. Anne's. Stevens stands outside the Rolls.
Miss Julia.
She looks at him quizzically.
Excuse me? Do I know you?
You can call me Stevens, miss.
Stevens opens the passenger door and reveals Harry waving at Julia as if he were the queen.
Ooh, hello!
Daddy? What are you doing in there?
Get in. I thought you'd like to go home in style today.
Julia looks at her girlfriends, then she looks at Stevens.
Can my friends come?
It would be my pleasure. Good afternoon, ladies.
The girls are impressed.
Hi!
There's room for everybody. Climb in.
Julia and the girls get in the back of the Rolls. Stevens closes the door. He gets into the car and the Roll zooms away.
Dad, whose car is this?
Mind if we make a few stops on the way home?
No!
Interior, Durst kitchen. Mary is taking lasagna out of the oven. Julia bursts through the front door.
Mom, come here quick.
Mary closes the oven and heads to the living room.
What is it?
Come to the window.
Exterior, outside Durst house. The Rolls pulls away from the curb.
Thanks, Stevens.
Stevens waves. Interior, Durst living room. Looking out the window, Julia sees the Rolls pull away.
Oh, never mind. You're too late.
Mary makes it to the door in time to see Harry walk in with his cane.
Good evening, Mrs. Durst.
Where have you been?
Dad took me, Lisa, and Becky for ice cream.
Before dinner?
Don't worry, she worked it off.
Oh,
Ice skating. We went to the park.
Mary feigns happiness for Julia.
that's nice, honey. Why don't you go upstairs and wash up for dinner?
Julia runs upstairs.
Okay.
Mary scowls at Harry and heads back to the kitchen and stands at the counter. She removes a 5-inch, then an 8-inch, and finally a 10-inch knife to chop vegetables for a salad. The chopping begins. Harry walks towards the kitchen. He limps up to her. He tries to vindicate himself.
It's her birthday week.
Ignoring him, she chops faster.
You're jealous.
She stops chopping. He's right. Changing the subject, she points her knife towards his leg as if to poke it.
How's that leg coming along?
He raises his cane in time to block the thrust. Mary's knife nicks a small V-shaped groove in its shaft, revealing the light-colored wood beneath it.
Watch it, I'm injured here.
Harry runs his fingers along the new groove in the cane's shaft.
You nicked it.
I wasn't aiming for the cane.
Interior, dining room. Julia watches her parents through the kitchen archway. She walks into the kitchen. Harry and Mary stare at each other, their eyes locked.
Why don't you two just kiss and make up?
Harry actually would like to, Mary not so much.
He doesn't deserve one.
Julia cuts it in front of her mother.
Well, I think he does.
Julia stands on her toes, kisses Harry on the cheek, and hugs him with her back to Mary. She rolls her eyes.
Let's eat.
Harry, Mary, and Julia sit at the table. Interior, Lennon dining room. John and Yoko are being served by the governess. Sean sits between them. John pushes his food around his plate with his fork.
Do you want her to make you something else?
Hmm?
You haven't touched your food.
Interior, Durst dining room. Harry shovels the lasagna in his mouth as fast as he can swallow. Mary and Julia are astonished at how quickly he eats.
Harry, slow down.
Oh, sorry. I forgot how great a cook you are. I mean...
Julia giggles. He wipes his mouth with his napkin. Mary looks at Julia.
You know, since he was shot by the birthday cake thief, he's a changed man.
Maybe he saw the white light and his life passed before his eyes.
And he didn't like what he saw. All the missed dinners, late night hours, anniversaries, birthdays.
The sympathy vote is losing its steam in the Durst household.
Hello? I was shot.
But in the Durst household, sarcasm equals love. Harry feels very comfortable. Interior, Lennon living room. John sits at the piano and plays a chord sequence. He stops with frustration. He pushes the stop button on the cassette recorder. He whispers to himself.
Shit.
Interior, Durst living room. Julia sits next to Henry at the piano. She plays her song but stops at a complicated part.
Shit.
Julia!
Mary yells from upstairs.
The show is in 2 days and I suck.
Julia!
Harry pats her shoulder.
Let me show you again. It's a lot easier than you're making it.
Harry plays it for her, and she joins him an octave higher. She smiles. Her smile turns to a frown.
I'm never going to be able to play this in front of the whole school.
There's an old show business trick for stage fright.
He whispers in her ear. Exterior, Lennon balcony, 3 a.m. Restless, John smokes a cigarette outside in the clear, cold night. Yoko appears from behind. She leans her head in between his shoulder blades. She pulls her arms around him and rubs his belly.
What is it, John?
He taps the cigarette out in an ashtray on the table.
I can't stop thinking about Monday night.
Yoko sits beside him.
You found a copy of our album with Harry's blood on it.
This is a conversation Yoko would rather not have.
I don't think it was supposed to be a robbery.
It doesn't matter, John. He's in jail. Come to bed.
Exterior, sidewalk, Thursday morning. Harry and Julia walk to her school.
What, no rules?
Well, I didn't want to spoil you.
Julia changes the subject.
Dad,
She stops walking.
Mom said that you told her you got shot saving John Lennon.
Harry turns back.
Well, I was a little groggy at the time.
Mm-hmm. You still have some major sucking up to do.
Yeah. Any tips on that?
You could start by not screwing up tonight.
Right. Tonight.
You don't know what tonight is, do you?
Is it someone's birthday?
There's only 3 people in this family. I must be adopted.
He's busted. She continues.
Dad, tonight's the night we get the Christmas tree.
Of course, I know. I was just kidding.
They arrive at the school grounds.
Okay, bye.
She kisses him on the cheek. She heads for her girlfriends waiting for her. Julia turns back to Harry and shouts.
You should ask Mom out on a romantic date.
She walks up the steps with her friends. The Lennon Rolls pulls up. Stevens gets out. He opens the door for Harry. John and Sean are seated in the back. Harry gets in and Stevens closes the door behind him. The girlfriends wave at Stevens as he closes the door to the Rolls.
Hi, Stevens!
The Rolls pulls away. Julia looks in the rear window. She sees her father sitting with another figure in the car she doesn't recognize. Interior, Lennon Rolls. John prompts Sean.
Say hello.
Hi, Harry.
Harry is happy Sean remembers his name.
Good morning, Sean.
Sean sits in between Harry and John.
I have an interview at the plaza. Care to join us?
Nah, I really need to get to work. Just kidding.
Exterior, Plaza Hotel. The Rolls pulls up to the Plaza Hotel. The doorman walks up to the Rolls and opens the door.
Good morning, Mr. Lennon.
John, Harry, and Sean head into the lobby of the Plaza Hotel. Interior, Plaza Hotel Suite. John sits with Terry Bishop, 36, of Rolling Stone magazine, for an interview. He holds a microphone and a cassette recorder which is slung over his shoulder. A photographer documents the interview. Harry sits with Sean on the couch. They watch Sesame Street on TV.
I'm privileged to be sitting with John Lennon. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon. So, John, will the Beatles be reuniting? No.
From the couch, Terry laughs.
Well, I'm glad we got that one out of the way. So, John, the new album is fantastic. How was your experience making it?
1 hour later, Sean fidgets on the couch.
Harry, I'm hungry.
Harry whispers in Sean's ear and points in the direction of John, who looks bored with the interviewer.
Go.
Sean runs over to John. Terry asks another question.
So, have you talked to Paul?
Sean jumps into John's lap.
Lunchtime, Daddy.
John is relieved to be rescued from the interview.
I hate to break this up.
Understood. Thanks for your time, John.
The interviewer and John stand and shake hands. The photographer packs up. John and Sean walk over to the couch. Harry hands him a menu. John looks at the menu. Sean makes faces.
Grilled salmon, Waldorf salad. What do you feel like?
A hot dog.
John surveys the menu.
No, no hot dogs here.
Hot dogs!
Harry kneels down to Sean's level.
I know where you can get the best hot dogs in all of New York. Want to go?
Sean jumps into Harry's arms.
Yeah!
John is pleased that Sean has taken a liking to Harry. Exterior, Bronx Zoo. Harry, John, Sean, and Stephen stand at a hot dog stand outside the gorilla exhibit at the Bronx Zoo.
Good call, Harry.
Stevens and Sean approach the gorilla cage. Sean leans over the rail. John yells.
Sean, be careful. They're known to eat little boys.
No, they don't.
He backs away, just in case. Stevens winks at him. John and Harry walk along the routes as they eat their hot dogs.
So what did you think of the interview?
I think I understand a little more about what it's like to be you. I guess they always ask you about a reunion.
John stops walking. He turns to Harry.
Look, they were my family for 12 years, but all the infighting, the lawyers, the lawsuits, it just ripped us apart. We've all just moved on.
Interior, St. Anne's Auditorium dress rehearsal. The performers for the next day variety show sit in the seats backstage. They await until they're introduced to run through their performance. Julia and Mary sit in the audience. A comedy Christmas skit featuring the three wise men is in the final run-through on stage, and no one is laughing.
I can't believe I have to follow them.
Don't worry. You always want the act before you to suck.
Julia smiles and turns to look at Mary.
Thanks, Mom.
The music teacher walks on stage. She tries to find something positive and supportive to the three wise men.
Okay, that's about as good as you're gonna get. Next up, please welcome Miss Julia Durst.
The sound of one person clapping and whistling belongs to none other than Mary Durst, who Julia embarrassingly ignores.
Woohoo!
She walks to the piano and attempts to adjust the microphone stand, which is too tight to move. It squeaks. Sitting at the piano, she begins her song. She flubs the intro that she's been rehearsing at home and stops. The teacher reassures her.
That's okay, Julia. Try it again. You sound great.
She starts again. Exterior, Bronx Zoo birdhouse. John holds Sean in his arms as they stare closely at a toucan.
It looks like Uncle Ringo.
I think the bird's nose is smaller.
Sean giggles. Harry smiles. Montage, Bronx Zoo fun. To the sound of the Beatles song Boys, the four lads enjoy experiences at the zoo. As they run through the exhibits, they mimic the monkeys, the elephants, the polar bears. At the petting zoo, Harry's ice cream falls out of the cone. Just as Sean laughs at Harry, a billy goat gulps the ice cream out of Sean's cone. Harry laughs at Sean. A tourist recognizes John and asks him to pose it for a shot. Before the tourist shoots, John pauses and brings in Stevens, Sean and Harry. They pose for a series of shots a la the Beatles in A Hard Day's Night. First shot, John, Harry, and Stevens stand and hold Sean as he lays across their arms. Second shot, John, Stevens, and Sean stand and hold Harry as he lays across their arms. Interior, Bloomingdale's dress department. Julia stands in front of a three-way mirror, trying on a dress. The sales clerk holds other dresses in her arms.
This is the one, honey. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the best dressed fuck up in the show.
Julia!
Mom, you heard me. I was terrible.
Mary walks up behind Julia and strokes her hair.
I ever tell you about the time I sang in West Side Story with the underwear around my ankles?
Mom? What?
Yep. My high school play. My eyes were closed. I was singing I Feel Pretty when my slip fell.
Oh my God.
Yep. The boys were whistling at me and I had no idea why.
Until you opened your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Mary stands behind Julia and looks at her reflection in the mirror. She adjusts her dress.
I stepped out of it and kicked it into the front row.
Mary chuckles.
What?
It landed on Father Hensey's head.
Julia looks at Mary in awe.
I got a standing ovation. Honey, you look beautiful.
You're trying to cheer me up.
Come on. We need to meet your father at the Christmas tree lot. Supposedly.
Julia looks at Mary.
Don't worry, we had a little talk this morning. He'll be there.
You trying to cheer me up?
Exterior, West Side Highway. The Rolls glides along the highway. Interior, Lennon rolls. John and Harry sit in the back seat with Sean between them. Sean leans on Harry and sleeps. John smiles at the sight of his son at rest on his new friend. Stevens whispers to John.
Sir, you wanted to stop by the studio to pick up the latest mix?
Yes, let's do that.
John looks at Harry.
He likes you. You're good with kids.
You and Yoko did a good job with him.
Mostly Yoko. People still blame her for the Beatles' breakup. They said she wasn't good enough for me, but you know what? I wasn't good enough for her. She saved me.
Harry is touched at John's bearing of his soul. He opens up also.
I feel like I've been given a second chance with my family. Julia's singing tomorrow night for the first time in public. I'm trying to help her with stage fright.
It could have been worse for you, too.
John softly rubs Sean's hair and moves a strand out of his eyes. The Rolls pulls up into the studio parking lot. Interior, Durst's living room. Julia puts a Burl Ives Christmas record on the turntable. The sounds of "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas" fills the living room. In anticipation of Harry's arrival, Julia hums as she puts up the holiday decorations. Mary assembles a Christmas tree stand. She checks her watch. Interior, Hit Factory Studios hallway. John and Harry walk through the halls of the studio. John holds the tape that contains the most recent mixes of his current recordings. They pass the studio where a band is rehearsing. The sound is good enough to make John stop and listen. They look in the door window. John motions to Harry to look at his watch.
We have time?
Harry nods.
Sure.
Interior, Studio C. They walk into the studio. The band members, one by one, recognize John and stop playing. Except for the singer, who stares at himself in the mirror as he shouts/sings. Eventually, he realizes the band has stopped and looks up.
Mind if we listen for a bit?
The singer doesn't recognize John.
I'm sorry, this is a closed rehearsal.
The rhythm guitarist walks up and whispers in the lead singer's ear. The singer is suddenly speechless.
Please, be our guest.
John and Harry sit down on the sofa opposite the concert-side stage. The drummer counts off the song and the band joins in. The lead singer struts as he sings the first verse. When they reach the chorus of the song, the two guitarists walk up to their mics and sing their background parts. Their harmonies are very strong. John leans over to Harry. He points toward the rhythm guitarist and yells in Harry's ear.
They should fire the lead singer and let him sing.
Harry couldn't agree more. The band finishes the song. John and Harry clap. John and Harry walk up to the two guitarists and the lead singer. Harry recognizes the guitarist immediately.
Thanks for letting us listen in. What's the band's name? Are you signed?
We're currently looking.
The singer interrupts.
The Limeys. I fired our manager. He didn't get me. Us.
John looks at the two guitarists. He points his thumb at Harry.
You should talk to Harry. He's the guy. If he can take on another client, that is. Harry?
Maybe, yeah. I have some ideas.
John puts his arm around the singer.
Join me for a sing.
Sure.
They walk out together. Harry sits with the two musicians.
So, what's your names?
I'm Paul. This is Dave.
Hi.
So what do you think?
Harry looks to be sure the singer has left before he gets serious. Certain of who they are, he points to Paul.
You have a great voice and a natural presence. You should front the band. And I've never heard the guitar played like that.
Thanks.
Now, your drummer rushes. The bass player is just okay, but you're the bomb.
They're confused by the comment.
That's a good thing. Let's see. You'll need a new name.
Harry grins.
It should just be you two.
Dave picks up the song list off the floor that has their band logo on it. He crosses out the Limeys and writes, "You two." Harry smiles at The Edge, Dave, and Bono, Paul, and gives him his business card.
If you'd like to hear more ideas, give me a call.
Sam Goldman?
Harry is a bit prouder of his job at the moment.
One and the same.
Exterior, Christmas tree lot, Upper Manhattan. Julia jumps up and down with excitement. She takes a deep breath near a big tree and takes in the smell of pine.
Smells like Christmas to me. Isn't this place magical, Mom?
Mary steps in a puddle of slush.
In 2 weeks, it's going to be a deserted parking lot.
Humbug.
Julia looks at a tree close up.
It's beautiful.
Mary looks at the price tag hanging off the top of the tree and asks the assistant.
What aisle has the aluminum trees?
Mom!
Interior, Lennon rolls. John sits with Sean on his lap. Harry looks out the window, recalling his meeting with the new clients at the rehearsal studio.
Thanks for recommending me.
No problem. You never know, it might lead to something good.
Yeah, I have a really good feeling about them.
The Rolls pulls up to the curb outside Harry's house.
We're here, sir.
Stevens exits, walks around the car, and opens Harry's door.
I had a great time today.
Yeah, it was nice. Say thank you to Uncle Harry, Sean.
Thanks for the zoo dogs.
Harry smiles and looks out at his house with pride.
You want to come in and meet the family?
Sure. Come on, Sean, let's go in.
They exit the car and Stevens stays behind.
You too, Stevens.
Stevens is touched.
Thank you, sir.
They walk up the front steps of Harry's house. Harry turns the knob. It's locked.
Mary? Hello?
Harry fumbles with the keys. He unlocks the door. Harry walks his guests in, John holding Sean's hand, and Stevens follows.
I don't know where they could be.
The house is a mess, with Christmas boxes on the floor. Harry recognizes the decorating already begun by Mary and Julia, which reminds Harry exactly where they are.
Oh, I don't believe it. I screwed up again. I'm supposed to meet them at the Christmas tree lot.
We'll wait and I'll explain it to her when she comes home.
Harry's out of the doghouse.
Oh, that would be great.
Sir, we were supposed to meet Yoko for dinner at 8.
That's right. Sorry, Harry, you're on your own.
Harry is back in the doghouse.
I'm used to it.
Sorry, Mr. Durst.
Come on, Sean, time to go home.
Harry walks his guests out. They walk down the steps. Stevens opens the car door for John and Sean. Sean hugs Harry and climbs in the Rolls.
Bye, Harry.
Talk to you later. Good luck.
The Rolls pulls away. Sean waves from the back window. Harry waves his cane back. Harry turns to see a taxi and with a Christmas tree tied on top pulling up. He waves to Mary and Julia with his cane like he did to Sean. He confronts Mary with a mock serious tone.
So, you went to the lot without me?
They get out of the cab. The driver gets out and unties the tree from the top of the cab. Mary responds to Harry's joke with, "The stare." Julia intervenes.
Dad, I wouldn't.
Pay the driver.
Harry knows not to push. He takes out his wallet and pays the driver.
Can you help us get it inside?
The driver pockets the cash and carries the tree up the steps. Julia stands with Harry.
Where were you?
You're not going to believe who was just here.
Save it, Dad. This is supposed to be our special time and you screwed it up. Again.
They walk up the steps and head into the house. Harry realizes he has more making up to do.
I'm sorry.
Mary closes the door in Harry's face before he can apologize. Interior, Durst's living room. The Charlie Brown Christmas album plays on the stereo. Still fuming, Mary sits on the couch. Harry walks up to the tree, which is laying on its side. He kneels down next to the tree, lays his cane down, and grabs the stand. Grunting and puffing, he screws the stand to the trunk of the tree. He grabs the tree and lifts. He stands one leg at a time, sweating and grimacing in pain. He steps back from the tree to admire his work. His pride prevents him from seeing it leaning too far over.
Perfect.
Julia stifles a giggle. She positions the tree so Harry can see it needs adjusting.
Oh.
She hands her father his cane. Then she adjusts the stand to straighten the tree.
Okay, let's get the lights.
Julia hands Harry a big tangled ball of lights. These are not the lights of 2009. They are actually large screws and bulbs that weigh quite a bit. Harry decides to see if he can impress his family with inside information.
You know, in the future, they'll make lights that are much smaller, just as bright, and energy efficient.
Ignoring Harry, Mary hangs stockings on the fireplace mantel.
Tell you what, Nostradamus, until that day, let's just make do with what we have.
Okay, don't blame me when the house burns down.
An oversized bulb falls from the tangled mess and shatters on the floor. Harry bends over and picks up the broken bulb.
Told ya. Not UL approved.
Harry untangles the knots, and with Julia's help, they circle the tree with the colored lights. Mary's mood softens as she watches Harry and Julia decorate the tree. With reverence, Julia takes the tree topper, an angel, stands on a steps ladder, and places it on top of the tree.
Mom, lights!
Mary shuts off the living room lights. She sits next to Harry on the couch. Julia plugs the Christmas tree lights into the wall. Wonderful colors fill the room. Julia sits on the other side of Harry on the couch. Harry gently takes Mary's hand in his. She quickly smacks it away. They take in the lights, the smell of the tree, and the holiday music.
Ah, The spirit of Christmas.
Mary takes a Polaroid camera out of the desk. She points to the tree.
Let me get a shot of you two in front of the tree.
Harry and Julia stand next to each other, arm in arm for the pose. They smile for Mary. She photographs them with a Polaroid. Flash. Interior, Harry and Mary's bedroom. Harry walks in after saying goodnight to Julia. He smiles at Mary, who lays in bed. She looks so beautiful to him. Harry walks into the bathroom. He brushes his teeth. Interior, bathroom.
You guys did a great job with the tree.
Interior, bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Interior, bathroom. Harry looks at himself in the mirror, still impressed with his youthful appearance.
I was wondering, want to do something tomorrow?
Interior, bedroom.
You still have a job, don't you?
Interior, bathroom. Harry grabs a bottle of mouthwash.
Well, I was thinking of spending my last sick day with you.
Interior, bedroom. She shuts off the light on her nightstand.
Oh, so now you're asking me out on a date.
She turns on her side and pulls the covers over her. Interior, bathroom. Harry checks his teeth in the mirror. He wipes his face with a towel.
There's so much to explain, and the timing has never been right. I'm sorry I missed picking out the tree. I screwed up. But honey, John Lennon was here tonight, in our living room, to meet you and Julia.
He walks back into the bedroom. Mary's back is to Harry.
Mary?
Mary snores away. He walks over to her side. He gently kisses her on the cheek. He walks around to his side, slips into bed, and turns off his light. Interior, Julia's bedroom. Julia sits on the edge of her bed. She holds the developed Polaroid in one hand and the open locket in the other. She stares at the identical pictures. Interior, Durst kitchen next morning. Harry walks into the kitchen. Their answering machine's light flashes. He checks the messages.
Beep! First new message.
Harry, it's your doctor. Call me tomorrow.
Harry smiles at the sound of John's voice. Exterior, sidewalk. Harry walks Julia to school. He runs his cane along the fence. He hums to himself.
Someone's in a good mood.
Why wouldn't I be? I'm walking my favorite daughter to school, and this evening we're attending a performance by an unbelievable singer. In fact, the best singer in all of New York State. No, the country.
Whoa, no pressure.
Honey, when that spotlight shines on you, you'll forget all about being nervous. Just enjoy it.
She takes the opportunity to change the subject.
So, how are things with Mom?
Good. Pretty good. Why, what have you heard?
Julia laughs.
Well, I've decided to plan the ultimate romantic date.
It's great. Where are you taking her? Tavern on the Green? The ballet? Carriage ride through Central Park?
Harry is reminded of horses galloping through the park.
Too dangerous.
Well, where?
It's a surprise.
You have no idea.
What's the use in fighting her? They arrive at the school entrance. She turns to him.
Dad, focus. What does Mom love?
Harry stares blankly. He's trying to remember, but he's foggy.
Broadway.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've arrived at the school entrance, she has no time, so she gets right to the point.
Take her to West Side Story. It's her favorite.
Harry beams with pride.
How did you get so smart?
I get it from Mom.
She hugs him.
Smart ass. Good luck today. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks, Dad.
Julia walks into school. She rubs the locket. Harry heads uptown. Harry walks to the corner payphone. He dials John's number.
I have John Lennon's number memorized.
Harry is unaware John has picked up and overhears.
We're gonna have to get it changed. How are you, Harry?
Embarrassed that John has heard him, Harry laughs.
I just dropped Julie off at school. She's really nervous about her performance.
Right, that's today. Tell her everybody gets nervous.
Well, she is doing a McCartney song.
In that case, you both should be nervous.
They both laugh.
What are your plans today?
I'm trying to surprise Mary with tickets to West Side Story, but I'm afraid it's sold out. How about you?
I got a call from Cynthia.
Really?
She told me Julian's in town.
A pause between them.
And
I'm in the studio all day.
Another pause.
John, why don't you invite him over?
No response from John. Harry senses his anxiety over his estranged son.
If you want, I can come over.
Okay. See you then.
Harry hangs up the phone. He hails a cab. Interior, Lennon living room. John hangs up with Harry. Yoko walks in.
You seem to be in better spirits. How's Harry?
Good. He thinks I should call Julian.
She rubs his back. Interior, Hit Factory Studios. Harry walks into the lobby. He is greeted by Stevens, who has been waiting there for him.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, Stevens.
Stevens hands Harry an envelope. Harry opens the envelope, which contains 2 front row center tickets to West Side Story.
Compliments of the Lennons.
I can't believe it.
They're quite taken with you, sir.
Harry walks to the phone.
I gotta tell Mary.
Stevens takes the phone from Harry. He hangs it up. He hands Harry a pen.
If you just sign the card, sir, I'll handle everything else.
Harry takes the pen and signs the card. He hands it back to Stevens.
Wow, I don't know what to say. Thanks, Stevens.
Stevens heads out of the studio. Harry heads down the hall to Studio A. Exterior, Durst house. The Rolls pulls up to the house. At the same time, Mary walks towards her front steps carrying 2 bags of groceries. She notices Stevens sitting in the Rolls, looking at her. Mary hurries up the front stairs, searching for her keys. She hears the Rolls door open and close. She puts one bag down the porch, which tips over, and a few oranges spill out. Stevens walks towards her.
Do you need help, ma'am?
Without looking at him, Mary unlocks and opens the door.
Oh no, thank you. I'm fine. No problem.
She pushes the grocery bag with her right foot and slides it over the threshold into the house. She quickly closes the door, locks it, and slides the inside chain on. Interior, Durst house. Mary looks through the peephole, which is partially concealed by the Christmas wreath that hangs outside the door. Stevens pushes the doorbell button. It doesn't ring, so he knocks. Mary opens the door but leaves the chain on. She talks to Stevens through the narrow opening of the door.
Yes?
The doorbell rings. Stevens smiles at the delayed ringing.
Ma'am, I believe this is yours.
Stevens shows her an orange. Mary reaches her hand up through the opening to take the orange. The orange is too big to pass through, but Mary doesn't want to take the chain off. Recognizing the problem, Stevens offers a suggestion.
Ma'am, may I?
He pushes the orange with his index finger, which forces it through the opening.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Mrs. Durst.
Mary is taken aback at hearing her name.
Do I know you?
I'm here to make a delivery.
Stevens hands her an envelope. Mary opens the envelope, looks at the 2 tickets, and reads the card. Exterior, Durst porch. Mary slides the chain off and swings the door wide open. Holding the tickets in her hand, she asks in disbelief.
This is from my husband?
Stevens smiles at her.
I shall be back to pick you up this Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Well, I shall be ready.
This makes Stevens laugh.
Very good, ma'am.
Stevens turns and walks down the steps. He heads for the Rolls. Exterior, Durst house. Stevens drives away. Interior, Studio A control room. Harry walks into the control room. He hears a familiar voice singing a familiar song that sounds like, but is not, John. The song plays over the huge studio monitors. Harry recognizes it to be the 80s hit Too Late for Goodbyes. The sound of Julian's voice fills the studio.
Sound familiar?
John holds a manila envelope and a note. He hands the note to Harry.
I took your advice and invited Julian to come over. You sent this instead.
The note is written on hotel stationery. It reads, Dad, sorry I couldn't make it. Enclosed is my first demo. I hope you like it. Julian.
You should feel proud.
Interior, Durst bedroom. Mary is wearing a towel, sits at her vanity table. She applies her makeup. Next to her, leaning on the mirror, are the tickets for West Side Story. The phone rings.
Hello? Oh, hello, Angela. He's not here. What's wrong?
Interior, Studio A control room. An intercom lights up on the control board.
Studio? Oh, hello. Sure, he's right here. John, it's Yoko.
Hi, love.
John, a woman named Angela from the Goldman Agency left a message for Dr. Robert. She was looking for Harry and said it was urgent.
Yoko notices Julian's song playing in the background.
Is that a new song?
Yes, I'll play it for you later. Bye. Harry, you need to call the office.
Can I call from here?
Sure, just dial 9.
Harry calls Angela.
Angela, it's Harry. What's up?
She frantically explains the situation.
Calm down. I'll take care of it.
Harry hangs up the phone.
Everything all right?
Something happened at work. I gotta grab a taxi to the bitter end.
Bummed that Julian has blown him off. John would like a diversion.
We can give you a lift. Stevens knows the shortcuts.
Interior, St. Anne's School Auditorium. Mary walks down the aisle towards the stage. The auditorium is decorated for the event. A Christmas tree sits on each side of the stage. A wreath wrapped with a big red ribbon hangs above the stage in the center. An audio-visual geek checks the levels of the microphones. He threads a new tape through a reel-to-reel recorder. He rechecks all the cable connections. A stagehand adjusts lights above the stage as he stands on a ladder. Each light projects a different color onto the stage floor below. A bright white follow spot turns on, silhouetting Mary as she walks towards the left stage door to the dressing room. The dressing room door has a yellow construction paper cutout of a star taped to it. Mary opens it to reveal interior dressing room. The sound of chaos as 30 young students losing their minds, preparing for their performance. One of the three wise men is half dressed in costume, blowing spitballs through a straw at the young boy dressed as a sheep. Young girls apply too much makeup to their faces as they sit at makeshift dressing tables. The drama teacher yells to the students,
We have 30 minutes to showtime!
which only increases the chaos. In the craziness, Mary finds Julia sitting at a beat-up piano facing up against the wall. She practices her scales. Her back is to Mary. Mary sits down to Julia at the bench.
How can you hear anything?
What?
Exterior, the Bitter End nightclub. The Rolls pulls up to the front entrance of the Bitter End. A line of fans stand in the cold waiting for the doors to open. Interior, Rolls.
He fired the whole band.
An hour before the gig, and it's not the first time. We put up with this crap when he had hits. But that was 10 years ago. I don't know why Sam wants to hold on to these kind of acts.
I don't know, Harry. There's something to be said about loyalty. An artist needs a babysitter, friend and supporter. Everyone wanted us to fire Brian Epstein, but he was the only one who took care of us. Weird as we were, and occasionally had to kick us in the arse. He was the only other person that would have taken a bullet for me.
Harry is blown away by John's compliment.
Wow. Thanks, John.
Harry opens the door and exits. He heads towards the entrance, but turns around and heads back to the car. He taps on the window. John rolls it down.
Sure you don't want to come in?
No, it's all you, Harry.
John rolls the window back up, and Harry sees his reflection in it. Harry smiles and heads into the club. Interior, St. Anne's School Auditorium. An announcer walks up to the microphone as the house lights dim and the show begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second annual St. Anne's Christmas Extravaganza.
The audience applauds.
To start us off, welcome our very own junior varsity cheerleaders.
Jingle Bell Rock plays while the cheerleaders dressed as elves assume their opening positions. They dance their choreographed, over-rehearsed number. In the audience, Mary puts her purse on the empty seat next to her. She looks down at her watch and sighs. Interior, Bitter End dressing room. Fantasy sequence. Harry pushes open a door with a cheap star on it. He heads into the room and sees John K. as Steppenwolf. John gets up and walks towards him.
Harry.
Harry punches John in the face. His sunglasses fly off and he falls back onto the couch. End fantasy sequence. Harry pushes open a door with a cheap star on it. He heads into the room and sees John K. of Steppenwolf. John gets up and walks towards him.
Harry.
Harry stands right in front of him. He's all business.
Do we have a problem, John?
The door closes behind Harry. Interior, St. Anne's School Auditorium. Mary watches the St. Anne's Boys Choir sing Silent Night. A woman approaches Mary and motions to the empty seat.
Excuse me, is this seat taken?
Mary is tempted to give it away, but thinks twice.
It's for my husband,
The woman walks away.
who I'm going to kill if he ever shows up.
Exterior, Bitter End. Harry struts like John Travolta as he heads out of the Bitter End towards the Rolls. Stevens gets out in time to open the door for Harry. Harry sits next to John and is silent. Finally, John speaks.
Well,
It's fixed.
Shall we proceed to your daughter's performance at St. Anne's, Mr. Durst?
Harry realizes the hours. He looks at his watch.
Yes, thank you, Stevens.
John smiles. As the Rolls pulls away, we hear the announcer from inside the Bitter End.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John K. and Steppenwolf.
The audience cheers as the opening chords of Born to Be Wild rip into the air. Interior, St. Anne's School Auditorium. The boys' choir finishes to a round of applause. The announcer walks to the microphone.
The boys' choir, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, the three wise men.
Mary looks at her watch. She gets up and heads to the lobby. In the lobby, she walks to the payphone. Exterior, St. Anne's parking lot. Harry walks towards the entrance. He looks down at his watch as he enters. Interior, St. Anne's Auditorium. Mary is pacing in the lobby. Harry walks to the front door.
What, did you think I wasn't going to make it?
Mary turns towards Harry. She pokes him in the chest.
The show started half an hour ago.
I was working.
I was worried.
Finally, Harry can tell Mary everything.
You're never going to believe what...
But not yet. From inside the auditorium, the announcer introduces the next performer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Julia Durst.
Mary grabs his hand and they hurry to their seat. The audience applauds as the curtain opens, revealing Julia sitting at the piano. The stage is dark, except for a spotlight on the piano, as Julia begins to play the opening chords to Imagine. The sound is magical and fills the auditorium. She starts to sing.
Imagine there's no heaven.
As she sings, the mic stand loosens and starts to fall. The microphone crashes down onto the piano keyboard with a loud thud. Immediately, the feedback squeals from the PA system. On the right side of the stage, the AV geek wearing the headphones jumps out of his seat. He throws the screeching headphones off his head. He hits every button on the soundboard, trying to stop the feedback, but it only gets louder. Mary and Harry are stunned.
Oh no.
Harry looks at the sound man.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Julia's panicking. The squealing feedback continues to grow louder. Walking out of the darkness, a man appears. He walks up to Julia. He lifts the mic stand, which immediately stops the feedback. He adjusts it and tightens it down. He sits next to Julia on the piano bench. The audience's nervous chatter is silenced. John leans into Julia and whispers.
Why don't we try it again?
John begins the famous intro to the song. The entire room is silent, as if it were turned into a church listening to a hymn.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Julia, in shock, stares at John as he sings.
It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky.
John leans towards Julia and nudges her with his elbow.
Come on.
Julia realizes she hasn't been playing. She joins him as he sings the second verse, playing an octave higher on the piano. Julia's classmates look at each other in amazement. The AV geek smiles as he watches the reel-to-reel recorder capture this historic moment. Mary takes Harry's hand and squeezes it in hers. He smiles at her. She starts to put it all together, his behavior all week, his leg injury, the fact that her daughter is singing on stage with John Lennon. He smiles back.
Impressed?
Julia sings the bridge with fervor as she grows more confident. The terrible beginning is now but a distant memory.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
John smiles at Julia's voice. He looks out at the audience while she sings and observes their reverence. The audience gets a chance to see John's face full on for the first time. The spotlight reflects off his glasses. The performance is a magical mystery concert. The song ends and the final piano chord fades. John takes Julia's hand, helps her off the bench. They walk to the front of the stage. The audience starts to applaud. Harry smiles at Mary as she starts to cry. They hug. Following his lead, John and Julia bow like the Beatles did on the Ed Sullivan Show. The applause grows louder and builds to a standing ovation. Julia spots her parents in the crowd and waves enthusiastically. John imitates Julia's wave to Harry and Mary. He then turns off stage and waves to Yoko with Sean. Interior, St. Anne's School Auditorium. Parents wait in line to greet John and Yoko. They sign autographs at the foot of the stage. Sean sits at the piano, noodling on the keys. A couple stands with John and Yoko and wait, and he signs.
Imagine was our wedding song.
Your music changed our lives. Thank you so much.
After getting the autograph, the mom hugs John. John is uncomfortable at first hugging the mom, but she doesn't let go, and he realizes how strongly she feels for him. The attention is intense, even for a Beatle.
That's very nice. Thank you.
The mom turns to Yoko and shakes her hand.
Thank you for sharing your husband with us. It's nice to get him out of the house.
Julia stands amidst her classmates. She is red-faced from all the attention.
You were great! How long have you known John Lennon?
John overhears and winks at her. Mary leads Harry over to a seat.
Here, sit down and rest your leg.
They sit. He motions towards Julia and John, getting all the attention. Mary is wide-eyed.
Incredible, isn't it?
He's right. She is full of emotion. She confesses to Harry.
I'm sorry I doubted you.
You had reason to. I don't have a great track record.
She hugs him. Interior, St. Anne's lobby. The Lennons and the Dursts walk out the exit towards the parking lot. Harry walks next to John. Mary walks next to Yoko, who holds Sean's hand.
It's nice to finally meet you. We really like Harry.
He's starting to get it.
takes them all a while, but they eventually come around.
They catch up with Julia, who has said the last of her goodbyes to her classmates. Sean runs up to Julia.
Hi, nice to meet you.
They join Yoko and Mary. Sean skips between Yoko and Julia, holding each of their hands. John is elated at the response to his music and the fact that his family is with him.
Why don't we head back home for a little celebration?
Harry looks to Mary to make a decision.
It's up to you.
Mary checks with Yoko to see if it's okay with her as well. Yoko nods approvingly. She looks back at Harry.
Are you kidding?
Exterior, St. Anne's parking lot. Stevens pulls up in the Royce. He exits and opens the back door for everyone to get in. Before they do, John looks at Harry.
You know, I feel like walking.
Harry nods in agreement at John.
Stevens, take everyone home. We'll meet you there.
John kisses Yoko and Sean. He hugs Julia.
See you all later.
I can come back, if you like, sir.
No, we'll be fine.
Very good, sir.
The two families enter the Rolls Royce. Mary embraces Harry, then she walks to the Rolls. Mary stands at the door and smiles at Stevens.
Can I ask you a question?
Anything, ma'am?
Is Stevens your first name or your last?
Stevens loses his educated accent.
Stephen Angelo Mariacelli. My friends call me Stevie.
Brooklyn?
Bronx.
Your secret's safe with me.
The educated accent returns.
I have no idea of which you speak.
She gets in. He closes the door behind her. The Rolls drives off to the Dakota. Exterior, St. Anne parking lot. John and Harry exit the parking lot. They walk down the sidewalk. Snow flurries fill the air around them as they walk. John is still moved by the night's performance.
I've forgotten how these songs affect people. After all the performances I've done, tonight's was magical.
They walk in silence for half a block.
I appreciate what you did for Julia.
It's the least I could do, considering what you've done for me.
Harry tries to minimize the truth that John admits to.
Yeah, it was nothing.
No, Harry, listen. I haven't slept all week. I've been wondering what would have happened if you hadn't come along that night. I've been downplaying it to keep Yoko from being upset, but the truth is, it could have been much worse.
Before Harry can come up with an appropriate response to put John at ease, he is interrupted by the sound of horse hooves.
Hey, hero!
Harry and John turn to see the carriage pull up beside them. The coachman recognizes John, not as a beetle, but as someone saved by Harry.
I remember you. How you doing?
Hello.
John waves. The coachman notices Harry's cane.
Hop in. I'll give you guys a lift.
What do you say? Ready to ride?
Come on, it's on me.
They get in the carriage.
The Dakota all right?
Yes.
Come on, girl.
He snaps the reins. The carriage heads out into the December night. From his point of view in the carriage, John looks at the sights in New York City.
You know, I've lived here all these years and I've never ridden in one of these.
Harry smiles. John continues.
Everything about this week reminds me how blessed I am. So many milestones, you know?
Tell me about it. In the short time the Beatles were together, you revolutionized music and lifestyle forever. The first concept album and music videos, long hair and LSD, sitars, gurus and benefit concerts.
Hopefully our legacy will be positive.
It is. I mean, it will be. Then it changes.
John looks at Harry.
I'll tell you what happens. Real music disappears. Writers, singers, players, all gone. Computers replace everything. Drummers have been replaced by drum machines. Recording studios are replaced by home digital workstations. Computers can even fix a bad singer's pitch.
John is taken aback by Harry's rant.
What are you talking about?
John, it all gets rehashed. It's impossible to get good music on the radio anymore.
Which reminds the coachman of what is in the pouch under his legs. He interrupts Harry.
Hey, I've been keeping this for you.
What?
He turns around to Harry.
Your radio. You left in such a hurry last time.
He hands the iPod to Harry. The sight of the iPod jolts Harry. He turns it on and the display comes to life. Their faces are illuminated by the light of the screen. Harry scrolls through the photos of Beatles and John Lennon album covers. Harry lands on the John Lennon Anthology 3 album cover.
John, deep down, you know if you really wanted to, you could make a call and do a reunion.
Normally, this would be the line that one wouldn't want to cross. But John and Harry have become true friends.
Yes. Well, that's why I won't.
Harry unwinds the earbuds and hands the iPod to John. Harry has never been as serious in his life as he is at this moment.
Listen, The Beatles never played together again.
As he puts the earbuds on, John reads the iPod display. Imagine, live at St. Anne's High School, December 1980, digitally remastered, 2008. Harry presses play. John listens to what he and Julia played less than an hour ago. The quality of the audio sounds better than the live performance. John falls back in the carriage seats. Harry watches John put the pieces together as he listens in bewilderment. John realizes that Harry has saved his life, changing his fate. Proof in his hands makes John uncomfortable. When the song finishes, John takes the earbuds off and gently hands the iPod to Harry.
John, let me explain.
John puts his hand up to Harry.
I don't want to know. Let's call the lads.
Exterior, 30 Rockefeller Center, Saturday night. A stretched limo pulls up to the curb of 30 Rockefeller Center. The back door opens. Out steps George Harrison and his girlfriend Patty. They walk into the revolving door and into the lobby. At a load-in bay, a roadie pushes the dolly containing a drum case with the logo Ringo Starr stenciled on the front. He rolls it up to the stage area, where 3 techs quickly open the case and remove the original Beatles drum set used on the Ed Sullivan Show. Interior, 30 Rockefeller Center, Stage 5 sound booth. Sitting at a mixing console is famed Beatles producer George Martin, 48, and 2 assistant engineers. They tweak and turn the dials and knobs on the mixing console. The assistants are not used to working with such crude television sound equipment. George Martin reassures them.
Don't worry. It'll be fine.
The timbre of his voice calms the engineers, who are nervous about the historic events at hand. Exterior, 30 Rockefeller Center. Another limo pulls up in the same curb. The back door opens, and this time it's Paul McCartney who gets out of the limo with his wife Linda. A few surprised fans instantly recognize Paul and Linda. They rush up to them asking for autographs. They quickly finish and escape into the lobby. Yet another limo pulls up to the curb. The back door opens, and this time it's Sam Goldwyn and David Geffen. Sam looks around and takes in the excitement. His pride is obvious. Interior, 30 Rockefeller Center, Stage 5. To the side of the stage, a guitar tech strings up John Lennon's black Rickenbacker guitar. Behind him sits Paul McCartney's Hofner violin-shaped bass. On a riser in the middle of the stage, Ringo's drums are set up. They reflect the light shining on them. The drum tech hits each individual drum and rolls the drumsticks on the cymbal. Interior, 30 Rockefeller Center Green Room. Ringo and Maureen Starr walk into the green room and are greeted by Paul, Linda, George, and Patty. They all hug. Paul takes out pictures of his and Linda's children. The others do the same. Interior, 30 Rockefeller Center offices. Lorne Michaels, the producer of Saturday Night Live, stands with an assistant. They each hold matching clipboards with a rundown of the night's show. With a pen, Lorne Michaels runs a line through the sketches to be cut. The assistant duplicates the cuts.
We may end up cutting them all. Got the check?
She hands him the check for $3,000 for the aforementioned comedy skit. He signs the check made out to the Beatles. Exterior, 30 Rockefeller Center. The Lennon rolls pulls up to the curb. Stevens gets out of the driver's side, walks around, and opens the back door. Julia exits the rolls.
Thanks, Stevie.
Stevens smiles at her.
Honey, give me a minute with your father.
Mary closes the door to the rolls while Julia waits on the sidewalk with Stevens. Mary sits back in the seat next to Harry.
Yoko told me everything. I know you saved John, but you saved us too.
Harry twirls his cane in his hands, looking down.
This is an important night for you, and I want you to know how proud I am.
Mary kisses Harry gently on the lips. They both exit the rolls. Julia hugs Harry. She whispers in his ear.
Great birthday week, Dad.
Come on, honey.
Julia and Mary walk into Rockefeller Plaza. Harry opens the passenger door and joins Stevens in the front seat.
What a week.
That's an understatement, sir.
The Rolls pulls away and heads uptown to the Dakota. Exterior, West 72nd Street. The Rolls pulls up to the Dakota building.
I'll be right back, sir.
Stevens exits the Rolls. He leaves the keys in the ignition with the radio playing. Harry takes a moment to reflect on the week's accomplishments. He looks out the window and sees it's beginning to snow. He flips the radio station to look for Christmas music and lands on a news report in progress.
At the Dakota in Uptown.
Harry freezes.
An armed assailant who attempted to rob former Beatle John Lennon last Monday night was released from jail today. A The police spokeswoman was quoted to say, "We got the wrong guy."
Harry's POV. Simultaneously, Harry sees John and Yoko walking with Stevens out of the front lobby towards the rolls. His heart starts to beat faster. He whispers to himself.
It's okay. Don't panic.
Harry sees a dark figure walking up the street towards the entrance of the Dakota. John can't see the figure from where he's walking. Harry pulls on the handle to open the door to warn them, but the door is locked. He can't find the unlock switch. He frantically looks around the dashboard and pushes every button he can find, but the door remains locked.
Come on!
The figure walks faster towards the entrance. Harry yells.
John!
But John can't hear Harry yell from within the airtight rolls. Harry beeps the horn to get their attention. Upon hearing the horn, John and Yoko wave at Harry, still unaware of the impending danger. As the figure is almost upon them, Harry recognizes the man's face. It's Mark David Chapman, John's assassin. Harry takes his cane and rams the silver handle of it into the window glass. It smashes. The sound and the sight of the window shattering startles John, Yoko, and Stevens. John doesn't see Chapman pull out a gun and point it at him. Reacting, Stevens pushes John out of the way. Chapman shoots Stevens, knocking him to the ground. Yoko screams. Harry climbs at the window and yells to John and Yoko.
Get down! Get down!
Yoko drops to the ground and covers her head. John turns to join her, but not in time to avoid Chapman, who shoots John 4 times in the chest. John falls backwards. Yoko screams.
John!
Harry runs towards John.
Stay down!
Harry runs to John's side. He kneels beside him in the blood-soaked snow. Harry tries to survey the injuries he sustained. John's body involuntarily gasps for air.
John, don't move. You're going to be all right.
John is whispering, but Harry can't understand what he's saying. Yoko starts to crawl towards John and Harry.
John!
Harry puts his ear up to John's lips.
What is it, John?
Behind you.
John's eyes close. Yoko screams. Harry looks up from John's body and turns to see the barrel of a .38 revolver in his face. Chapman stands over Harry.
I saved the last one for you.
Blam. Fade to white.
See, I told you the ending was going to be rough. So, what's my legacy? Well, I left behind a beautiful wife and daughter who loved me. And as for that reunion you were all hoping for...
John's voice interrupts.
Harry, you know the Beatles will never play together again.
I can wait.